Like Hungry Ghost was still tethering off just before we went to the studio for Waco. There was no gap between the cycle. This time there was no fuel left in the tank, and we quite consciously said at the end of Waco we're really stopping.
I think if we didn't have the break, we wouldn't be a band anymore.
We probably should have been here a year and a half ago, maybe, if not sooner. But that's, fuck it.
It's been good to have that time to really try and perfect the songs to a point where we could just come straight into a studio and just basically track them.
Coming into this record, we were a lot more prepared.
Just played together for a year.
Fucking hell, six this shit.
Like we went for the extra sparkly edition. The plan was to record in a house in Mansfield, which is extremely ambitious. You can't be bashing around a drum kit at 10:30 at night or whatever. So anyway, we ended up here, to the Grove, here on the Central Coast.
It's definitely like a place where we really wanted to do as much live tracking as possible, and you need to be somewhere like this to make that happen.
It's a beautiful studio. I'd love to record here again. I mean, it's the drum sound that we got is awesome.
Come all this way, Mikey, and you got all these nice drums, and you play the drum stool.
Apparently, was built by Gary Beers, which is not just the coolest name. He was the bass player in NXS.
Oh, look at you, hello.
It's just like an old 80s behemoth rock god studio.
Look at the curtains, they're like velvet or something. And that's just the curtains.
Makes it a bit of a no-brainer if you're going to be able to go somewhere that you can focus because you're out in the wilderness, but then have great gear and great people around. Makes perfect sense.
This is James, welcome to Video Diaries. Day 1. Nothing to report. Is there?
Yeah. My ass!
The other cool thing is how we get to live here.
You can just wake up and come straight into the studio and just work, so you get like these really long days in. I don't know, you just get into the rhythm.
That's okay! But not have to, leave. We could literally just keep going till 4 in the morning.
Fuck off.
I don't need to live with these dudes.
Especially we're all dads. If my kid makes a mess, I can tell him to clean it up.
It's like Big Brother or something, like being locked in a house.
We're pretty used to it. I mean, we toured America and we lived in Motel 6 rooms in a van. And
yeah, it's like the old days. You go a little crazy. It's amazing how close you can get with these things.
This is my good part.
We're super encourageable together, so it's not exactly wise at the same time.
After being in a band for over 14 years, you just kind of learn how to get along.
This is Lord Voldemort. Fuck your studio content. You have ruined society and destroyed the world.
Great, man. Yeah. I'm super confident I've got this tape.
This is Greg.
Our band's always been drawn to people that are really good engineers and want to capture the band in their state.
We've met Greg through just Triple J stuff.
I mean, we've always been impressed too when we did like a version, and I remember we heard it back and I was like, this is one of our best sounding recordings. And he did that in an hour.
Imagine like each week having to record a totally different band, a totally different stuff live, and then get it up on air. And because the original idea was to do it live to tape in a house, I mean, we're like, well, who else is there?
Getting the first contact from the band just saying, would you be interested in doing this with them? It was like, wow, what an email.
We're huge fans of his band, Sandpit. He played in lots of bands, but that was the one.
Obviously recorded a heap of awesome music like You and I and No Knife and a bunch of other amazing bands.
You don't get to make these kind of records very often. A record where the overall feeling in the band is just like they're hearing out of the speakers what they want to hear back.
What's that, David Bowie?
You know, and he vibes off us, so it gives you that confidence that you're going in the right direction creatively.
He somehow has this ability to make things mix themselves at the source.
Instead of EQing, he just uses different mics.
If you get the source right, you can play it back and it should sound like how you wanted it to sound when you were printing it.
And I've never been around that. Been around a lot of really good engineers. We worked with Gil Norton, and you know, this guy did Foo Fighters and Pixies. It wasn't sounding this natural when we were recording with Gil. He was making a Gil Norton record, and that, you know, has a certain method and a lot of technicalities and super fine tuning. Whereas Greg's approach is, no, I just want to capture your band how they are, even if it's a little bit out of tune.
Amazing.
So part of the reason why we chose this studio is because you can record to tape. We came up, we moved in, and I think 2 days in, the tape machine broke. These two dudes came up from Sydney.
They worked like 2 days, like straight through the night.
They just sat in this position. Every time I walk past, like, I complain about, you know, playing guitar on my shoulder and stuff, and these guys are just like...
There's a little saturation the tape adds to drums, but it's actually, there's a 50 hertz hum.
You just get that warmth and like some sort of like an analog type of a sound.
Yeah, it was slowly adding all these artifacts to the point where we just noticed it on the last track and it was like, man, it was shelf life.
Like, check out Champions or something.
Greg did a bounce and I was like, I'll clean this up on RX7, this software where you can take out all this stuff, crackle and breathing.
And then we got to listen to the tape version side by side.
It instantly sounded, let's just got rid of like this weird hum. It was like, oh, it sounds like software.
Fuck no, it sounds better. Just use the tape.
And it was like this huge hum. But it sounds so cool.
Oh, what are you up to today, Luke?
Driving and rock and roll.
You're doing some vocals.
Yeah.
Why don't you take us to your vocal station? Show us a look. How you do it.
So you come in here and then you sing.
You do anything special? Anything to psych yourself up or?
Nah, it's just pretty straightforward.
Oh. Is this your...
You have way too much time on your hands.
Is this your inspiration?
Did you get the interns to do this with their valuable time?
No.
Wow. Now I'm meant to do vocal takes. It's the opposite.
Thanks for letting us in on your secrets of
That's all right. It's just
your inspiration.
This is how magic happens. They need to be louder.
We always spend a lot of time making our records get everything right, as you can see. Waste a lot of money on amps.
Oh, is the frog stomp amp round?
So that amp back there, can you see that Marshall? Was used for Silverchair Frog Stomp. But we had ones used on Hungry Ghost in Waco that sounded better. So no.
Watching Mikey's drum takes, you could hear the metronome going, but he was just like slamming it, like right on, perfect, just right to the end. And it was just so sick to watch.
It's the version of the song that's going to print, so each part is especially important.
I'm still stuffed up there. Ah! Oh, let's just go from the same spot again.
From playing so hard for so many hours, like get like a lot of blisters on your hands, and I went through a few boxes of Band-Aids. It's all in a day's work, mate.
Never felt so comfortable and excited. You know, you come out on a high. You know, you almost want to get back in there for your next turn when it is. You know, that's really cool. That's the opposite from me. I run. You know, I look for other things to do when it comes to my turn.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was funny. I did actually have like a massive anxiety attack. I like got through the first day fine, and then couldn't sleep all night, and like got into the studio the next day to finish off the tracks, and I got a full day of recording. I was just like, sorry if I'm a little dark today, Greg, I haven't slept. Greg was so patient, and yeah, we got through the day and got it all done. Don't think I slept that night either.
How long have we been here? It feels like we've been here forever. And I think we're coming up to 4 weeks on Saturday. It's a long time.
But then at the same time, if you're always here, like, you sort of don't notice time pass.
I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta get back to normal life.
But yeah, don't get much sunlight. Anyway. Not that I'm a sunlight person.
To be able to make the songwriter like Boredom, who's extraordinarily talented as a songwriter and producer and knows exactly what he wants, to be able to give that to a band, it's been so rewarding. It's seriously the best part of it.
Just the natural progression of Luke's songwriting, like where he's got to now and what he's doing is far beyond anything that, you know, we've ever done before.
It's just a bit of a process and takes a long time to kind of try and find a newish sound that, you know, you want to tour and you want to record. And if you're not excited about it, then you don't do it, because, yeah, being in a band is already shit enough. You know, you don't do this for money or anything. Like, it's kind of like you do it for songs, you do it for music.
Tim O'Keefe just got on the phone and said we need to get more footage. Did he? Yeah, he said, get Boredom eating a pie.
Everything is A-okay. They will tie your words in knots. Spit them out like
They can attitude to me, but I'm only 17. Now I'm a real man machine.
The Boredom vocal distortion.
Yes.
It is a beautiful thing.
He's